No such luck, though, for the people of Hong Kong. The government has decided to give British passports to 50,000 residents of the colony and their families. Now, that leaves many hundreds of thousands of people in Hong Kong deeply unhappy, as Francine Stock discovered for Newsnight.
Easter Sunday Eucharist at the Anglican Cathedral of St John, Hong Kong. The Saviour is risen. The Governor arrives.
Good morning, sir.
He's presiding over the final disintegration of empire. Alone among the colonies, Hong Kong will pass from the autocratic rule of the British not into independence, but to communist China. For this congregation, the Easter service may reaffirm enduring values of home.
Hey, good to see you. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to you. Is all well?
Yet for many in Hong Kong, the British legacy is one of evasion and dishonour.
This will be the first colony that we will have, in a sense, sold into communism. And that's felt very, very strongly here, that we're just letting it go into the most horrifying communist regime, the people who sent the tanks to roll over the students and so on. And I do feel a certain amount of shame about doing that, which I didn't really feel till I came out here.
The British have ruled absolutely in Hong Kong for 140 years. Today, over half of the 6 million people in the colony hold Hong Kong British passports, but with no right of abode in Britain. The British have governed literally from above. 1,000 feet up from the city, on the gilded slopes of the peak, are the residences of the rich. Michael Green is one of the businessmen who, through organisations with emotive names like Honour Hong Kong, have led the campaign for British nationality. Holding a Hong Kong British passport himself, he's one of the few to be heard in a society that has no political voice.
We have no way of expressing our views. We do not have an elected legislature. We do not have our top officials elected. Our senior government appointments are made from the UK. I think it's unfair and inaccurate to say that we don't express ourselves. We have no channel through which to express ourselves.
Maintaining pressure on the right of abode debate, Michael Green last week met the Foreign Office Minister Francis Maud, the latest envoy in town, to hear the pleas of the Hong Kong people and proffer in return the standard endorsement of the colony's virtues.
And as always, I find an inspiration in Hong Kong's can-do attitude. It's a place where you simply don't hear the word can't.
At home in the afternoon, in clubs at night, sometimes for fun, often for money, Hong Kong plays mahjong. Less diverting, but requiring similar dexterity, is the point system of the nationality package. Nearly a third of the 50,000 passports would be set aside for the vital services, like firemen, the sensitive ones, like spies, and the very rich, 500 key entrepreneurs. The rest go to business with small quotas for professionals. Points will be added or taken away for age, qualifications, spoken English, and so on. Over 500,000 are thought to qualify. In the grey world of the triplicate form, civil servant William Coe examines the nationality shopping list. He wants a British passport. For over 20 years, he's negotiated Hong Kong's water supply from China, but his long government service may not help him at all. At 44, he may be too old. By Hong Kong standards, the Coe family lives spaciously, a perk of the water department. So to preserve this living standard for his children after 1997, he'll have to make contingency plans. Even now, the Coes attend 2 or more farewell dinners each month for friends leaving the colony for Canada, Australia or Singapore, an exodus of 1,000 a week.
We have told the British government that the civil servants who work in the Hong Kong government, in the broad sense, work for the British government, and British government has an obligation to see that they are given passports as a final escape. That's why we suggested to the British government that people who reach a certain rank and with a number of years of service should be given British passport right away. And we people do not want to settle in Britain unless there is something unforeseeable happen. And because Hong Kong has been our home and will continue to be our home.
But in the nationality stakes, William Coe, loyalty and experience notwithstanding, can muster only 350 out of the possible 800 points. The early salesman catches the tourist. For 6 years, since he was 23, Simon Chow has been a partner in a chain of 3 electrical shops. He works a 7-day week. The business is expanding. Simon Chow is the epitome of the can-do philosophy so praised by British ministers.
How about 18 for both of them?
You pay in cash?
Yes.
All right.
But the entrepreneur won't bother to apply for a British passport. Canada offers more opportunities.
I can watch the TV in Hong Kong. You can see the news. British, they always have problem on the job. People, they don't have job. And you know, all the Chinese people, all we want is we can work hard, but at least we can find a job to work. So if we can't find a job, that means we got no chance.
With no qualifications, Simon Chow earns few points for industry and initiative. Although he's the right age, he scores some 250. The legend "Made in Hong Kong" has been stamped in this street over the decades on billions of goods by factory workers with no English, no exams, not a chance under the proposed points system. At 12, Yin Yet Lin began a quarter of a century of badly paid assembly jobs. She's convinced Britain's nationality package can only damage the prospects of Hong Kong's workers.
The
right to stay in Britain has only been offered to an elite, and that will be a big setback for the Hong Kong economy. The British haven't tried hard enough to keep the top people in Hong Kong or stabilise Hong Kong's business interests. By offering them a passport, the British are enabling big business to leave.
Miss Yin would most probably fail to collect any points in the nationality race. The ultimate irony of the point system is that there is no pass mark. The allocation of British passports is finally, like so much of the administration of Hong Kong, at the discretion of the governor and his staff, who'd be advising the Home Office. So even if an applicant had managed to accumulate the maximum number of points, if the face doesn't fit, then those points might add up to nothing at all. Competition for 50,000 passports will only deepen the chasm between the crowd in the stands and the elite in the paddock. With no democracy, the route to power and influence in Hong Kong is through money, an ethos that doesn't account for the vagaries of British politics.
The realities of the situation are that we have a sophisticated, industrious, well-educated group of British citizens in Hong Kong who can contribute enormously to any economy. We'd like them to stay here and contribute to the Hong Kong economy. Canada, Australia, to a lesser degree the United States, see our people as a resource. They have offices set up in Hong Kong encouraging and assisting immigration. So what is viewed as a powerful resource by other countries is seen as a potential burden in the UK. I find that incomprehensible.
Britain's efforts to wind up its colonial past are, like everything in Hong Kong, overshadowed by one towering symbol, the Bank of China. Since 1984 and the Joint Declaration, China has become increasingly assertive towards its future charge. Britain's nationality package is viewed with hostility as an attempt to maintain a web of influence beyond the handover. So far, China has said it won't recognise the 50,000 British passports.
There's no point in beating around the bush. We've had a difficult time in our relationship with China over the last year or so, that there's been a good deal of suspicion on both sides, and this has not been particularly comfortable for us here. I think it has actually been improving recently. Certainly we've been making great efforts to try to explain to China the way we run things here, what the priorities here are, what the needs of Hong Kong are. Because after all, we really do have a very common, close objective with China. We are both aiming to make a success of Hong Kong.
experimental performance is The Talk of Hong Kong. It depicts a state of suspended animation between the historical fact of British colonial domination and the uncertainty of a future under China. With little power to influence, irony is one of the few weapons that Hong Kong has.